Welcome to the Perkiomen Valley Fall Play. We're here to present Clue, the Stay-at-Home Edition. In this performance, the role of the Chief of Police will be played by Meredith Marks. Enjoy.
Scene 1, Body Manor, 1950s. It is foggy from the storm, and a dimly lit, flickering chandelier hangs above. Yvette, a French maid, dressed perfectly, watches the news on a dimly lit, static-filled, black and white television set.
McCarthy's shrieking denunciations and fear-mongering have created a climate of fear and suspicion across the country, raising the question in households across the nation. Who are the un-American Americans amongst us?
Any man who has been named by either a senator of a committee or a congressman is dangerous to the welfare of this nation.
Front door creaks open, unheard by Yvette. Enters Wadsworth, the butler, dressed perfectly, shaking off his umbrella with a twinkle in his eye. He stands behind Yvette and listens to the TV also.
President Eisenhower refuses to engage directly with McCarthy. In a letter to his brother, however, Eisenhower explains, as for McCarthy, only a short-sighted or completely inexperienced individual would urge the use of the office of the presidency to give the opponent the publicity he so avidly desires. Time and time again, without apology or evasion, I and many members of this administration have stood for the rights of the individual, for free expression of convictions, even though those convictions may be unpopular, and for free and uncensored use of our libraries, except as dictated by common decency.
Yvette?
Monsieur, I didn't hear you come in. You frightened me half to death.
Wouldn't want to do that. There are so many better ways to die. Please turn off that noise. Is everything ready?
Oui.
Cook?
A formidable cook, dressed perfectly, appears in a flash from the kitchen.
Called, sir.
Everything on schedule?
Dinner will be ready at 7:30.
Revealing a butcher knife.
Sharp.
Ah, right on time. You have your instructions?
Oui.
Very well then.
Wadsworth moves to the door. Yvette pushes off the TV. Cook exits the kitchen.
Let the game begin.
Wadsworth grandly opens the front door. Colonel Mustard, officious, stands in the doorway, shielding himself from the rain. He wears a decorated colonel's uniform.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm not sure if I'm in the right.
Yes, indeed, you are expected, Colonel.
How do you know who I...
It is Colonel Mustard, isn't it?
No, that's not my name. My name is Colonel...
I believe it's been recommended that tonight you use a pseudonym.
Oh, no thank you. I took an antihistamine before I came.
May I take your coat?
Oh, all right. I suppose.
As Wadsworth takes his coat, Yvette, who is wheeled on a bar cart, now pops open a bottle of champagne, startling Colonel Mustard, who yelps.
Whoa!
Not to worry, Colonel. It's just the maid in the hall with the champagne cork.
Champagne?
Oh, don't mind if I...
This way, monsieur.
Thank you.
Yvette escorts Colonel Mustard to the lounge. As Colonel Mustard enters,
Are you expecting someone else?
Indeed. I'll be with you in a moment.
Follow me, Colonel.
With pleasure, my dear.
Yvette opens the lounge door, escorting Colonel Mustard inside. Wadsworth opens the front door. Mrs. White stands, tragic and morbid, dressed in funeral clothing, guarding herself from the rain. Over her face is a mesh black veil.
Do come in, madam. You are expected. Welcome.
Do you know who I am?
Only that you are a socialite to be known this evening as Mrs. White.
Yes, it said so in my letter, but why?
May I introduce you? Mrs. White, this is the maid, Yvette. I see you two know each other.
We've never met.
Champagne?
I think not.
Please, warm yourself in the lounge.
Why? Do I look cold?
A bit.
Wadsworth escorts Mrs. White to the lounge.
I'll be right with you.
Wadsworth opens the door. Mrs. White steps inside the lounge, startling Colonel Mustard.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Pleased to meet you.
I'm rarely pleased to meet anyone.
There are more.
Wadsworth closes the lounge door. Yvette opens the front door. Mrs. Peacock, middle-aged, wealthy, and batty, stands, covered in jewels, a foxtail fur stole, and a hat of peacock feathers. She is shielding herself from the rain with a box of candy.
Bonjour, madame. Please, come in from the rain.
Mrs. Peacock enters.
Mrs. Peacock, I presume.
Who? Oh, yes, that's me.
Cook, will you please take Mrs. Peacock's stole?
Mrs. Peacock turns to give the cook her stole, recognizes the cook, and flinches.
I see you two know each other.
Don't be ridiculous. I have never met this woman before in my life.
Champagne?
My lips belong to Lord.
Please, make yourself comfortable in the lounge.
Thank you.
As Wadsworth escorts her to the lounge, she remembers the lavishly wrapped box of chocolates in her hands.
For your hospitality. Oh, and there's a couple of Benjamins hidden under the caramel there for you, butler.
How sticky.
I expect to be treated like the wife of a...
Hold that thought. Right this way. After you, Mrs. Peacock.
Wadsworth opens the door to the lounge.
Oh, my. Look at the detail of this molding. This is quite a magnificent. You!
Welcome to the party.
Wow. This is turning out to be quite the crowd.
Wadsworth opens the front door. Mr. Green, straight as an arrow, stands in a trench coat holding an umbrella. He does not enter, but remains in the doorway, anxious.
Is this the right address to meet a, Mr. Body?
Sit!
Mr. Green grunted.
No, not you, sir.
Sorry.
Please, come in.
Excuse me, I suppose this letter has me rather anxious.
You must be Mr. Green.
Oh, yes, that's exactly who I am.
Welcome, sir.
Whoa, this isn't what I expected at all.
I find if you expect nothing, you're never disappointed.
Oh, no, I'm not disappointed.
Pardon me, sir.
He opens the door to find Professor Plum smoking a pipe, with Miss Scarlet smoking a long, thin cigarette standing beside him.
Good evening.
Please arrive at 7:30 sharp Saturday evening. Well, here I am.
Professor Plum.
If you say so.
Well. And I thought I'd seen everything.
Miss Scarlet, welcome. I didn't realize you and the professor were acquainted.
We're not. The bridge is all washed out from the rain. My car broke down, and this professor offered to give me a ride. I didn't realize we were headed to the same place until we arrived.
How was your drive?
It's a long haul.
Indeed, it is a long haul, but it is a very large house. This way, please.
Wadsworth points the way to the lounge. Miss Scarlet absorbs the grandeur of the manor.
Say, what is this godforsaken place anyways?
This old place? Oh, this is Body Manor. Cook dinner.
Correctly.
Appetizers in the lounge. After you.
Ooh, hors d'oeuvres. Good. I am starving.
Funny, I haven't much of an appetite at all.
Wadsworth opens the door to the lounge, allowing them to enter.
My. This really is a party.
Well, greetings all. It's a pleasure for you to see me. Ooh, cocktail hour.
There are so many of you, I didn't realize.
Right, good then. You're all here. Colonel Mustard.
Present.
Miss Scarlet.
Hmm.
Mrs. White.
Yes.
Professor Plum.
Right.
Mr. Green.
That's me.
Mrs. Peacock.
How do you do?
Greetings, I am Wadsworth, the butler. Tonight, as you may have surmised, nobody is being addressed by their real name, a courtesy your host has provided to ensure your privacy. I suggest you follow his lead and refrain from revealing too much about yourselves this evening. You never know when.
He spills champagne all over himself.
Ah, dinner.
Sorry. I'm a bit clumsy, I suppose.
Dinner. More like our cocktail minute.
Mr. Wadsworth, you were saying you never know when. What?
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 This way, please.
Yvette has handed Mr. Green a fresh glass of champagne. He drinks his drink again.
We really oughtn't keep her waiting. Cook can get cranky. Ladies and gentlemen, follow me. The dining room is right this way.
Scene 2, the dining room. They arrive to find a beautifully set table with 7 chairs.
You'll find your names beside your places. Please be seated.
Do you see my name?
I'll just take the table.
Me?
I don't know the table, but whatever.
They take their places. Colonel Mustard next to Miss Scarlet, next to Mr. Green, next to Mrs. Peacock, next to Mrs. White, next to Professor Plum.
This place, at the head of the table, is that for you?
Indeed, no, sir. I don't sit. I am merely a humble butler.
What exactly do you do?
I buttle, sir.
Dinner is served.
Thank you, cook.
Yvette and Cook serve them soup.
All right, then. What's all this about here? This here dinner party?
Ours not to reason why, ours but to do and die.
Die?
Merely quoting, sir, from Alfred Lord Tennyson.
I prefer Kipling myself.
Miss Scarlet offers a basket of dinner rolls to Colonel Mustard.
Do you like Kipling, Colonel?
Sure, I'll eat anything. So, who is our host? Is this where he sits?
All in good time, sir.
Yvette serves soup to Mrs. Peacock.
Oh, what's this smell? It's something familiar.
Shark fin soup.
Oh, my favorite. Oh.
I know.
The cook and Mrs. Peacock exchange a sinister glance.
Empathy.
Oh, this is delicious. Oh, yum, 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 yum. Well, I guess I'll be the one to get the ball rolling here. I mean, I'll break the ice. I mean, I'm used to being a hostess. It's like an integral part of my life as the wife of a. I forgot. We're not supposed to say who we really are. Oh, well, I mean, I don't really know what's going on here, but I think this is all very intriguing anyway. And oh my, this soup is just delicious, isn't it?
I know who you are.
You do?
Yes, I work in Washington.
Washington? So you must be a politician's wife, Mrs. Peacock.
Yes, I am.
Who's your husband? Maybe I know him.
Well, Mrs. White, you've been particularly quiet. What does your husband do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, he just lies around on his back all day.
Oh, how lazy.
Not necessarily.
Mr. Green spills his drink all over Miss Scarlet.
Sorry. I'm a bit accident prone. Sorry.
That'll be $5, mister.
Sorry?
Mr. Green, what do you do in Washington?
Oh, I better not say. I like to follow the rules.
Well, if I wasn't trying to keep this conversation going, we just all be sitting here in embarrassed silence.
Are you afraid of silence, Mrs. Peacock?
Yes. No. Why?
Well, in my professional opinion, it seems you suffer from what we call pressure of speech.
Is that an official diagnosis?
Are you a doctor, Professor?
In psychological medicine.
Do you practice?
Not anymore. I currently work for the government.
Ah, another politician.
Not exactly. I do research for you know who.
Who?
A branch of the United Nations organization. The World Health Organization.
Ah, you know who. It's an acronym.
I have a sister who was a gymnast.
You are a real colonel, aren't you?
I am, sir.
Aren't you going to mention the coincidence that you also live in Washington, D.C., Colonel?
How'd you know that?
I've seen you before.
So, Miss Scarlet, does that mean you live in Washington?
Sure do.
Does anyone here not live in Washington?
They all look at each other, putting together the coincidence.
Oh. Then is this about the Red Scare?
I'm not a communist. I'm a Republican.
Colonel Mustard stands up, fed up, addressing Wadsworth.
Wadsworth, we've had enough of this. Where is our host, and why have we been brought here?
Speak of the devil. Pardon me, please.
Wadsworth exits.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Quickly, Miss Scarlet grabs her empty water glass and runs to the door. She places her ear against her glass against the door. They all follow suit, dumping the contents of their glass, lining up single file behind Miss Scarlet, ears to glass against the backs of the guests in front of them, as though they are able to hear through the glass, through the guests, through the door. We heard muffled voices from the hall. They talk on top of each other.
Yes. Good thinking, Miss Scarlet.
What are we doing?
The acoustic coupling between the door and the glass allows sound waves to travel from one side to the other.
We hear Wadsworth's muffled voice from the hall.
All the guests have arrived as expected, sir. Everything's going according to plan. We'll meet you in the study.
Wadsworth re-enters the dining room. He clears his throat, startling the chain of guests, causing a kerfuffle. They startle, surprised at his entrance, and try to cover their faux pas.
We weren't listening.
Needed a refill.
We were playing a game.
Where is that?
Mrs. Peacock removes her napkin from her dress and slams it on the table.
Who was at the door. I demand to know what is going on here.
Can I interest any of you in fruit or dessert?
No.
No.
That case, may I suggest that we adjourn to the study for coffee and brandy, at which point I believe your newly arrived host will reveal his intentions, your letters will be explained, and the game will be afoot.
Scene 3, the study. Yvette serves drinks from a bar cart.
Coffee? Brandy?
Thank you, Yvette. That will be all.
Oui, monsieur.
Yvette exits.
Well, where's our host?
He's not here. Nobody's here. What is happening?
Cigarette? It'll calm your nerves.
I don't smoke.
Mrs. Peacock pulls a flask out of her purse, takes a deep swig. Colonel Mustard finds a string and button closure envelope on the desk. The envelope reads confidential in large red letters.
For Wadsworth, open after dinner. It's for you.
Wadsworth opens the envelope and reads it privately. Professor Plum tries to get a glimpse over his shoulder. Wadsworth blocks his effort.
Right then. Are you comfortable?
I'll make a good living.
Oh, out with it, Wadsworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, these instructions are clear.
I'm glad something is.
It seems the 6 of you have received the same letter.
They all revealed their letters. Wadsworth takes the letter from Professor Plum and reads from it.
It will be to your advantage to be present on this date because a Mr. Body will bring to an end a certain long-standing, confidential, and painful financial liability.
That's
What mine says.
Yeah, well, that's mine. So.
As it turns out, you all have one thing in common.
That Tanner McCarthy, we're all being blacklisted, aren't we?
Close, Colonel. You're all being blackmailed.
Oh,
For some
please.
considerable time, all of you have been paying more than you can afford for someone who threatens to expose you.
Please. Why is someone going to blackmail me so? I go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, lady. Don't we all?
Anybody else wish to deny it? No? Okay. Until you'd received your letters, you hadn't known who was blackmailing you. But now, I'm sure that the least discerning amongst you has determined that the man behind your ransom is Mr. Body himself.
Well, yes, I think it is.
And who are you,
Who
his
is he,
henchman?
Philip?
You pompous British butler.
Mr. Body, what a scoundrel!
All this stress is not good for my blood pressure.
You think I can't handle a little blackmail?
Who is this Mr. Body fellow, you brutish butler?
Who Mr. Body is no concern of yours. Suffice it to say, he's a supporter of the House Un-American Activities Committee, and he feels your activities are decidedly un-American.
Un-American?
Un-American, a little
My
immoral, but...
task this evening is to expose your secrets to each other, rendering you all culpable in each other's indiscretions.
But we hardly know each other.
Precisely.
Don't you think that you might spare us this humiliation?
I'm afraid I have no choice. We'll start with you, Professor Plum.
Ooh, this ought to be good.
It says here you are once a professor of psychiatry, specializing in pathological lying lunatics suffering from delusions of grandeur.
Yes, but now I work for the U.S. government.
So your work has not changed. But you can't practice medicine anymore, can you? Your license has been lifted, correct?
Why? What do you do?
You know how male doctors aren't supposed to date their lady patients?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he did.
Ugh.
How awful. You know, someday there will be a reckoning for men like you.
I hope so.
Me too.
You're disgusting.
Are you making moral judgments, Mrs. Peacock? How then do you justify taking bribes from Senator Peacock's votes to certain lobbyists?
My husband is a paid consultant. There is nothing sinful about that.
Not if it's publicly declared, but if you slip cash under the door at old Ebbett's Grill, how would you describe that transaction?
I'd say it stinks.
What are you in that man's room?
So it's true.
No, it's a vicious lie.
But you've been paying blackmail for over a year now to keep that story out of the papers. Seems a little sticky, no?
Now listen here.
Well, I'm willing to believe you. I too am being blackmailed for something I didn't do.
So am I.
Not me.
You're not being blackmailed?
Oh, I'm being blackmailed, all right. But I did the thing I'm being blackmailed for.
What did you do?
I run a non-governmental agency that handles classified affairs.
Affairs? In Washington? Oh!
Is that how you knew Colonel Mustard? Was he having a classified affair?
Certainly not.
I was asking Mrs. Scarlet.
Well then, Miss Scarlet, you tell him it's not true.
It's not true.
Is that true?
No, it's not true.
So it is true.
A double negative.
Double negative? You mean you have photographs?
That sounds like a confession to me. In fact, the double negative has led to proof positive. I'm afraid you gave yourself away.
Are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests?
You don't need any help from me, sir. Colonel, looks like you hold a sensitive security position in the Pentagon. Those negatives would most certainly compromise your position.
And what position exactly were you caught in, Colonel?
This is an outrage!
Let's see, who's next? Mrs. White. You've been paying our friend the blackmailer ever since your husband died, under, shall we say, mysterious circumstances?
Hey, what do you want? I didn't kill him.
Then why are you paying the blackmailer?
I don't want another scandal, do I?
Another?
We had a very humiliating confrontation. He had threatened to kill me in public.
Why would he want to kill you in public?
I think she had meant he had threatened in public to kill her.
Oh.
It was all over the papers.
And yet, he was the one who died, not you, Mrs. White. Not you.
He was found dead at home, unclothed. His head had been cut off, and so had his, you know.
Oh.
As she gestured to her groin.
But I didn't do it. I'd been out all evening. At the movies.
What was showing?
Naked alibi.
A likely story.
But he was your second husband. Your first also disappeared.
That was his job. He was an illusionist.
But he never reappeared.
He wasn't a very good illusionist.
And lastly, Mr. Green, who is a...
I don't need you to unmask me, Wadsworth. I know what you're going to say.
What's that?
Mr. Green, who is a homosexual?
Not me.
I beg your pardon?
You asked who is a homosexual, and I said, not me.
Mr. Green and Wadsworth share a baffled moment.
Yes. Thank you, Colonel. But there's more to it than that, Mr. Green.
How do you mean there's more than that?
There's evidence to support the question of your politics.
My politics? Since when is working for the Republican Party a crime?
You swore an oath of allegiance to the Republican Party, but neglected to vote for Eisenhower in the last election. That's grounds for an ousting if there ever was one.
But voting records are confidential.
Everything has a price, Mr. Green.
So there you have it.
I have what?
A crooked senator's wife, a lascivious doctor, a disloyal Republican, and so forth. Not exactly adhering to an all-American standard of behavior, are you?
It depends on who you ask.
But if this body fella is such a noble citizen himself, why didn't he report us to the authorities?
And give up the opportunity to make a buck? Come now, Professor. What could be more American than that?
Apple pie.
All right, Wadsworth. So we're all being blackmailed by a renegade McCarthyist. Where does that leave us?
Where is this Mr. Body?
And what does he want from us?
Who cares? I'm not waiting around to find out. I have done nothing wrong. I am leaving.
Charges to the door.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Peacock, but you cannot leave this house.
I'm the wife of a great senator. You cannot tell me what to do. It's locked.
Indeed. All the doors are locked, the windows are barred, and the grounds are patrolled by vicious dogs. There's no way out.
You can't keep us
You can't do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce your host for this evening and your blackmailer for life, Mr. Body.
Body is in the study doorway with a confident charm.
How do you do?
Who do you think you are? I will have you brought before Congress.
You swine! I thought millionaires were supposed to be good looking.
Boy, would I like to give you a piece of my mind, and I don't feel like confrontation.
Why are you blackmailing us? I'm frustrated that I find you attractive.
Driving all these good people? I don't get it. What's in it for you?
You're such a typical man. Better off dead.
Mrs. White emerges at the front of the group to expertly knee Mr. Body in the groin.
Oh, Mrs. White in the study with her knee.
Thank you. I've studied martial arts.
Take a wary step away from Mrs. White.
There is one more piece of information you may like to have.
The what?
What?
The police are coming in less than an hour.
The police?
I already lost my license.
Unless
Unless what?
Unless what?
Body refers to his briefcase.
Unless you agree to double down.
And why would we do that?
Well, if you don't, I'll put this briefcase containing all the evidence needed to expose your wrongdoings in the hands of the police, the press, and the House Un-American Committee. The right spin, those fellas can make a commie out of anyone. I think some of you could face a lifetime in jail, and others, lifetime of shame.
You bastard.
Really
Can't lose my job again.
You do this.
Unless
That's what?
Well, there is something you could do for me that would change the game. Something that I just can't bear to do myself.
What?
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 Have a seat, everyone, please.
Is it all right if I sit here?
Before he can get the word out, Mr. Green sits on the edge of the table, which surprisingly collapses noisily.
Sorry. A little accident prone. Sorry.
Mr. Body, what's this about, sir?
Well, in this bag, there are 6 packages that I thought our guests might find useful this evening.
Your body begins to empty a duffel bag full of packages into the arms of Wadsworth.
Packages?
Presents, if you will. I'm a generous sort of fellow.
Are you?
Wadsworth, will you please see to it that each guest receives a gift?
Gladly.
Wadsworth moves to distribute the gifts.
Anyone want to take a guess as to what's in the boxes?
Perfume.
Candy?
A single rare Scott Lodge whiskey?
I'm guessing games fun. Please. Open them.
Miss Scarlet opens her box. Puzzled, she lifts out a heavy brass candlestick. She looks at Mr. Body.
A candlestick? What's this for?
One by one, each of the guests opens their boxes, pulling out their gift.
A wrench.
Lead pipe?
A dagger?
A revolver.
Ah! A snake! Oh. No, it's a rope.
In your hands, you each have a lethal weapon. You all came here tonight because you believe the evidence against you is so terrible that you would do anything to keep it a secret. I'm putting that theory to the test.
You are?
Mr. Wadsworth here is the only other person who knows your secrets, and it's costing us all dearly to keep him quiet.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't have to double your payments if I didn't have to pay Mr. Wadsworth for his silence.
Wadsworth? Wadsworth.
He may look suave and charming.
Thank you.
But really, he's conniving and manipulative.
False!
Why? Do you think he's called the police?
You called the police?
Only because he instructed me to do so.
Did I? Ladies and gentlemen, if you can get rid of Mr. Wadsworth, I'll have no need to increase your blackmail or expose you to the police.
Get rid of?
Does he mean kill him?
In fact, if you can eliminate Wadsworth,
Yes, I think that's what he means.
who not only knows all of your secrets, also mine, then I will eliminate your blackmail altogether. And we can be done with this terrible business once and for all.
You would never!
Well, why make us do it, Mr. Body?
Yeah.
Why not do your own dirty work?
Yeah, why?
Why should I? When the six of you are so uniquely motivated and on.
What a patriot.
After all I've done for you. Come now, everybody. He's a liar. I'm one of you. I'm not a butler. I'm an indentured servant.
A familiar refrain. Don't make a scene, Wadsworth. It's over. The police are on their way. Now's your chance. The only way for you to end your blackmail and avoid finding yourself on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth. Now.
Turn the lights!
The lights are switched back on. Mr. Body lies on the floor, prone, face down. Everybody else remains as they were.
Mr. Body.
Oh, thank goodness.
Is he breathing?
Stand back. I'm a doctor. He's dead.
Oh my God.
Who had the gun?
I did.
So you shot him?
I didn't.
Well, if you didn't, then who did?
Somebody grabbed the gun from me, and the next thing I knew, there was a shot.
Wadsworth turns Mr. Body over.
There's no gunshot wound.
He's right. There isn't.
Look! There's a bullet lodged here in the wall.
Eagle eye, Miss Scarlet.
Well, if the bullet's over there, then how do you die over here?
I don't know. I'm not a forensics expert.
Something else must have killed him.
One of us must have killed him.
They all look at each other and their weapons, nervously aware that a murder is present amongst them.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't do it.
Me
I
neither.
didn't do it.
Why would I do it?
Mrs. Peacock, unable aware to find a drink elsewhere, goes to Mr. Body's body, who is still holding a goblet.
I need a drink.
Pries the goblet from Mr. Body's dead hand, raises it to her lips. She downs it just
Maybe
as
Mr. Body was poisoned by the brandy.
Mrs. Peacock spits out the brandy over Professor Plum and dead Mr. Body.
There, Mrs. Peacock. Everything's going to be okay.
Scarlet
Calm down.
She slaps Mrs. Peacock, who falls onto the sofa, silenced.
Someone had to stop her screaming.
Was the brandy poison, Mr. Green?
How should I know?
I guess now we'll never know.
Unless she dies too.
They all hurry over to the sofa and stare at Mrs. Peacock.
The screams are coming from the billiard room.
The guests rush out. Mr. Green has the lead pipe in hand. They move to outside the billiard room.
Scene 4, the hall outside the billiard room. Yvette's screams are louder now as the Wadsworths and the guests, except Mrs. Peacock, arrive at the door of the billiard room. Wadsworth tries the handle.
It's locked. Who's in there? Who's screaming?
C'est moi!
Yvette? Oui! Yvette, are you all right?
No!
Yvette! Are you alive?
Yvette opens the door, revealing herself in a puddle of tears, fuming.
Of course I'm alive, you idiot! No thanks to you, Wadsworth. You've locked us up in this house with a murderer!
So the murderer is here.
We!
Where?
Where? Here! We're all looking at him!
Mrs. Peacock enters, out of breath.
Or her.
What took you so long?
I'm an old woman who may or may not have been poisoned. Oh, it's amazing. I'm anywhere.
I heard you own this study. One of you is the killer.
How could you hear us in this study?
I was listening. I have a tape recorder in the billiard room connected to the study. Monsieur Body asked me to record your conversation.
Why would he ask you to do that?
For more evidence, of course. Wadsworth revealed your secrets in this study. Now, they are all recorded.
What a snake! I've got to destroy them. Where are the tapes?
Who cares about the tapes? What about the body?
What body?
Mr.
Body's body.
Ring a bell?
But, Yvette, why were you screaming in there all by yourself?
Because I was frightened. I also drank the cognac. Maybe I am poisoned too. Plus, one of you is the killer. Once your body is dead.
We have to figure out which one of them did it.
What do you mean, which one of them?
Well, I didn't do it.
Well, one of you did. I would have killed him myself, but I didn't have access to a weapon.
Don't look at me. All I got was a candlestick.
Maybe it wasn't one of us.
Who else could have it been?
Who else is in the house?
Only the cook.
The cook!
Cook!
Scene 5. The kitchen. They enter the kitchen. There's a large refrigerator. Mr. Green no longer has a lead pipe. They look for the cook.
As far as I can tell, the cook's not here.
Oh my, what a lovely kitchen. My husband and I had a kitchen very similar to this in our first brimstone. It just has such a homey feel to it, doesn't it?
As she reminisces, Mr. Green trips, accidentally causing the refrigerator door to open. The cook's body, dagger in her back, tumbled out onto a quite unsuspecting Mr. Green.
It's the cook!
With a dagger in her back!
Someone wants to kill her!
This makes 2
To what?
murders.
Oh, I hate murders. Oh.
I think you better explain yourself, Wadsworth.
Me?
Well, who else would want to kill the cook?
Dinner wasn't that bad.
How can you make jokes at a time like this?
Oh, it's my defense mechanism.
Some defense. If I were the killer, I'd kill you next. I said if. There's only one admitted killer here, and it's not me. It's Mrs. White.
I've admitted nothing.
You paid the blackmail. How many husbands have you had?
Mine or other women's?
Yours.
Five.
5?
Yes, just the 5. Husbands should be like Kleenex. Soft, strong, and disposable.
Okay. Well, if it wasn't you, who was it? Who had the dagger?
It was Mrs. Peacock.
Yes, but I put it down.
Where?
In the study. Anyone could have picked it up.
Wasn't
Wasn't me.
Well, then it must have been a Mr. Green.
Can somebody help?
Good Lord, let him up.
Mr. Green, you really ought to learn to speak up for yourself better.
The mustard and Professor Plum lift the cook's body off Mr. Green. Mr. Green gets up.
Oh my lord.
Wadsworth steps over Mr. Green, who crawls away.
Gentlemen, might I suggest that we take the cook's body into the study?
Wadsworth hoists the cook out of Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum's arms and onto his back.
Why?
For starters, when the police arrive, if they find this...
Wadsworth dumps the cook's body off of his back and into the arms of the rest of the group.
We'll all be in custody and under suspicion for murder.
Murder?
And secondly, I'm the butler. I like to keep the kitchen tidy.
They heave ho, grumbling as they do, and carry the cook's body from the kitchen to the study.
Scene 6, the study. The guests, except Wadsworth, enter the study. They stop and slowly look back to the spot where Mr. Body was.
The body's gone.
They freeze. They drop the cook to the ground with a thud. Just then, Wadsworth enters.
But what are you all staring at?
Nobody.
What do you mean?
No body. Mr. Body. It's gone.
Maybe he wasn't really dead.
He was.
We should have made sure.
I thought I had.
So, was he dead or wasn't he?
Maybe he was dead, but someone moved him.
Who would move him?
And why?
Oh,
How should I know? If he's not here, then where is he?
well, oh my, all this excitement. If you'll excuse me, is there a little girl's room?
Oui, madame.
No. I just need to powder my nose.
There's a toilet outside the billiard room.
Mrs. Peacock exits.
I don't mean to alarm anybody, but we do currently have the small issue of 2 dead bodies, one missing, one present, and the imminent arrival of the police.
The bridge is washed out. That should buy some extra time.
But I don't want extra time. I want the police to arrive. I am
But once the police get here, the rest of us are doomed.
Wadsworth, am I right in thinking that there's nobody else in the house?
No.
Then there is someone else in the house?
Sorry, I said no meaning yes.
No meaning yes?
Yes.
Look, I want a straight answer.
Don't look at me.
They look at him.
Anyway, Wadsworth, is there anyone in the house? Yes or no?
Wadsworth considers this carefully. Then,
No.
No, there is, or no, there isn't?
Yes.
There seems to be some confusion on whether or not we're the only ones in this house.
There isn't.
There isn't any confusion, or there isn't anybody else in the house?
Either. Both.
Just give me a clear answer.
What was the question?
Is there anyone else in the house?
No.
No.
Look, he says that, but does he know that?
Look, we've got the killer on the loose, the dead body of Mr. Body, a cook with a dagger in her back, and all of these easily accessible weapons. The rope, the revolver, the candlestick, the wrench, and... Hey, where's the lead pipe?
Mrs. Peacock comes stumbling in with Mr. Body hanging all over her. It looks like he is attacking her.
It's Mr. Body.
And he's attacking her.
The bloodied Mr. Body falls off of her and onto the ground. The lead pipe protrudes from his skull.
He's so bloody.
Stand back. He's dead.
That's what you said the last time.
I believe in second chances.
Mr. Body dead? Again?
I'm gonna faint.
I'll catch you.
Mrs. Peacock collapses in Wadsworth's arms. He releases her and she falls back with a thud.
Sorry.
Mrs. Peacock,
Yes.
where did this happen?
In the bathroom. I was just standing there, and then he fell all over me. And at first I thought he was attacking, but then I realized, he'd been propped up on the doorframe dead, just waiting to fall over on somebody.
She pulls a tiny bottle of cleavage from her cleavage and downs it.
Who would do such a thing?
It's a lot of guts to kill someone twice.
But why?
It's what we call overkill, Professor.
Why would they do
What's the
that?
difference why?
Wow.
A difference to us. We've got to find out who the killer is, where, and with what.
Seems like it was probably the lead pipe.
10 points, Professor Plum.
What kind of game are you playing?
This isn't a game.
You. The lead pipe belonged to you.
But I dropped it while running to the kitchen.
People don't just drop murder weapons.
Well, I didn't know it was a murder weapon when I dropped it.
So anyone could have picked it up.
Yes, of course. But who did? Who did pick up the lead pipe? Who picked up the lead pipe and brutally murdered Mr. Body, leaving him dead and bloodied in the bathroom? Who did it? Who?
Hold it, Butler! While you're over here losing your marbles, I'm over here trying to do something useful. Have you all forgotten evidence against us?
The evidence.
They move to Miss Scarlet. Miss Scarlet tries to open Mr. Body's briefcase.
Mr. Body's briefcase is locked.
There must be a key.
Mr. Green, would you be so kind to check Mr. Body's pockets for the key to the briefcase containing the evidence of our crimes, so that we may destroy said evidence once and for all?
But why me?
Why not?
Well, all right.
Mr. Green pulls out a latex glove, putting it on.
Where'd you get that?
I don't like germs.
Or fingerprints?
No, it's mostly germs.
Mr. Green searches Mr. Body's pocket, gagging and holding back vomit.
Oh God, it's warm. I found it. I found it.
He rushes it over to Miss Scarlet, who opens the briefcase.
It's empty.
Empty?
Then where's all the evidence?
I told you Mr. Body was a liar. Had the evidence in his briefcase my foot.
We must find that evidence.
And destroy it.
Evidence against his side. First things first. We're in a room with count them, 2 dead bodies.
And the cops are on their way.
Exactly. Let's move the corpses to the couch so they look less dead.
It's turning out to be some party.
Help me, Monsieur Green.
Well, all right.
Yvette and Mr. Green drag the cook, while Professor Plum drags Mr. Body.
Oh, careful. Don't get guts on the ground.
Solid battlefield technique, Professor Plum. Never leave a man behind.
Cadavers are heavier than they seem, aren't they?
I wouldn't know.
Right. Me neither.
Oopsie daisy.
Here, prop her up.
Well, aren't you all strong and virile?
Mrs. Peacock drinks from a flask.
Good. They just look asleep.
Forget about the bodies. We need to do something about this room full of murder weapons and the homicidal maniac on the loose.
Let's put the weapons in the bag.
Wadsworth starts to put the remaining weapons in the bag.
What good will that do?
Then we'll zip up the bag.
Most murderers know how zippers work, Mr. Wadsworth.
I know. We'll put the bag in the safe.
Oh, terrific. Where's the safe?
In the hall.
Scene 7, the hall. They arrive and Wadsworth tinkers with the bottom of a large framed portrait hanging between 2 doors.
I don't see a safe.
Is that an original Trumbull, Mr. Wadsworth?
Those are quite valuable.
Now is not the time for our appreciation, Butler.
Before Mrs. Peacock can finish her thought, Wadsworth opens the painting on the wall to reveal a safe.
Whoa.
Oh.
Wadsworth throws the bag in and locks the painting.
A hidden safe behind a portrait. How original.
There. Locked.
Voila.
What are you going to do to the key to the safe, Wadsworth?
Oh yes, the key.
I'll put it in my pocket.
But what if you're the murderer?
I'm not.
But what if you are?
I have an idea. We'll throw it outside.
Oui, à l'extérieur.
But what if it's raining, aloxia, blah, blah, blah?
I'm not suggesting we go outside. I'm suggesting we stay inside but throw away the key.
But you'd have to open the door, wouldn't you?
I would.
But what if the killer is outside?
Ooh, better out than in.
Yes, we'd want to keep him outside, wouldn't we? If we open the door, we risk letting him back in.
But maybe if we open the door, we'd encourage the killer to go out.
The killer seems to be doing a fine job of opening and closing doors all by himself. I don't see how us opening the door for one tiny second could make that much of a difference.
But what if we open the door, throw away the key, and the killer catches it? Then the killer would have the key we're trying to confiscate.
We might be overthinking this. I'm going to throw away the key. Follow me.
Scene 8, the front door. Wadsworth leads Yvette and the guests towards the front door. He opens the front door to throw away the key, but shockingly, a motorist stands at the door, poised to knock. Wadsworth slams the door in the motorist's face. The guests are breathless with fear.
Was that the killer?
He didn't look like the killer.
Just want to know one.
Leave him to me. Interrogation is my specialty.
Colonel Mustard opened the door.
How do you do?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb the whole household, but my car broke down out here, and I was wondering if I could use your phone.
Are you a killer?
What? No.
All right. This way, please.
But no. Thank you. Well, where is it?
Where's what? The body?
The phone. What body?
What? There's no body. There's nobody.
Right. There's nobody in the study.
Colonel Mustard has inadvertently pointed to the study. The motor starts walking towards it. Everyone realizes that's where the bodies are.
No!
Not there.
No, that phone's been disconnected. But I think there's one in the lounge.
Alrighty then.
Wadsworth brings the motors to the door of the lounge.
Right through this door.
Thank you.
Wadsworth opens the door, lets the motors in, then closes and locks the door.
Now listen, everyone. We haven't much time. Our task is twofold. 1, find the evidence, and 2, find the murderer.
But we've got one potential suspect locked in the lounge. But that leaves the rest of this house up for grabs. Who knows what's behind all these doors?
I suggest we handle this in proper military fashion. We split up and search the house.
Split up?
Yes! We split up into pairs. That way, no one will be alone.
But if we split up into pairs, whichever one of us gets paired with the murderer might get killed.
Mon Dieu.
But then we would have discovered who the murderer actually is.
But then the other half of the pair would be dead.
This is war, Mrs. Peacock. Casualties are inevitable. You can't make an omelet without breaking an egg. Every cook will tell you that.
But look what happened to the cook.
Colonel, are you willing to take that chance?
What choice do we have?
None.
I suppose you're right.
All right, troops. Divide and conquer. I'll split into pairs. Eeny, meeny, miny.
No. Mrs. White, you come with me. Professor Plum, you're with Mrs. Peacock. Yvette, you go with Mr. Green. And Miss Scarlet, you're with Eeny Meeny.
But what if someone doesn't come back?
We'll remember you fondly. Now, leave no door unopened. And cherish your partner. This might be the last person you ever see.
Go on. I'll be right behind you.
That's why I'm nervous.
But why? It's just us. We're alone.
That's just it, Mrs. White. No man in his right mind would ever be alone with you.
Fine. You go in there, and I'll go in here.
You go to 2 doors, but don't go in.
Are you going in?
Yes. Are you?
Yes.
On the count of 3. 1, 3.
Wadsworth and Mrs. White enter and exit their respective rooms abruptly.
Nothing in that room.
Nothing in that one either.
Shall we search the ballroom?
All right.
Focus shifts to Mrs. Peacock and Professor Plum in the library. Mrs. Peacock puts a book back on the bookshelf, triggering an elaborate FBI-style secret panel labeled Evidence, plastered with headshots and notes detailing the guests' crimes to flip and appear in the wall directly behind them. They do not see it.
How can I find anything if I don't even know what I'm looking for? Professor Plum, how are we supposed to find anything if we don't even know what we're looking for? Professor Plum, could you speak up? Professor Plum, I believe we can't hear you.
Civilization is perpetually menaced with the disintegration through this primary hostility of men towards one another.
Your fancy words don't intimidate me, Professor.
I take no credit, Miss Peacock. Freud, I think he's onto something.
Now is not the time for academic pursuits. We're supposed to be finding the evidence.
It's a fruitless search, if you ask me. I mean, it's not like we're just going to walk into a room and find all the evidence plastered on the wall.
I suppose you're right.
Come on, let's go upstairs. Maybe we'll be excited by something in the bedroom.
I have been excited about something in a bedroom for years.
They exit the library. The guests crisscross once more, featuring an unexpected split-second connection between Yvette and Wadsworth. Then, Colonel Mustard crosses the hall, studying an enlarged map of Body Manor. We move to the lounge and find the motorist on the phone.
I'm a little nervous. I'm at that big house on the hill and I've been locked in the lounge. I didn't expect there'd be a whole group of people here. I think they're having some sort of party, and the funny thing is, I think one of them's my customer.
As he's talking, the portrait behind him opens and a gloved hand appears behind him with a raised wrench.
Yeah, my regular Tuesday night passenger.
The wrench comes down on the motorist.
Scene 10, the conservatory. Colonel Mustard searches the conservatory floor. Mrs. Peacock enters slyly, holding Professor Plum's pipe.
Oh, there you are.
You'll never believe what I found in the hallway. Professor Plum's stupid tobacco pipe.
Huh. I wonder what that means.
Who knows? But I think it's suspicious if you ask me.
I just did.
Honestly, Colonel, this is the last room we have left to search in this beastly mansion, and we still haven't found the evidence.
I mean, I think this time has been quite productive, nevertheless.
Aren't you a Pollyanna?
You're a brave and determined young lady, Miss Scarlet. I've really enjoyed our time together. I hope, after this expedition ends, we can remain friends. I mean, seriously, murders aside, it's been a lovely group, all in all. I suppose I would like to hear Mrs. White talk about how and when she lost her veil in the billiard room, but...
Mrs. Scarlet grabs the veil.
Mrs. White lost her veil in the billiard room? Odd.
Odd?
Odd.
Colonel Mustard accidentally leans on the wall sconce, which moves like a lever. A trapdoor in the floor flies open.
A trapdoor! A trapdoor leading to a secret passageway. Come on.
Ladies first, Miss Scarlet.
How heroic.
Miss Scarlet steps into the passage. Colonel Mustard follows her.
Scene 11, the lounge. A painting opens. Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard climb out of it.
Where are we now?
How should I know? The lights are off.
Well, turn them on.
I would, if I could see anything.
Whatever. I'm just gonna feel my way around.
Don't get any funny ideas, Colonel.
A table?
A telephone.
A chair?
A body. A body?
A body? Ah!
Find the door!
Get me out of here!
Find the door, but the door is locked.
Help! Help!
Murder! Murder!
The lounge.
Let us in! Let us in!
Let us out! Let us out!
Oh, we can't let you out. The door to the lounge is locked.
You had the key, Wadsworth. You locked the motorist in here.
That's right. I did. I do. I don't. The keys are gone.
Gone!
I have an idea.
Yvette runs off.
There's a murder on the loose. Please get us out of here.
Mr. Plum walks back from the door at his most macho.
There's no choice. I'm just gonna have to break down the door. Stand back. I'm a doctor.
Suddenly, Yvette runs on, holding the gun.
Stand back! I'm a woman!
Professor Plum backs into Yvette. Their crash causes her gun to go off, firing upwards. The chandelier above falls, pinning Mr. Green beneath it.
Somebody help, please!
Mr. Green rolls out from beneath the chandelier, which nearly crushed him.
What happened? What was that?
Happened?
Help! Let us out!
I will help you!
Yvette, still determined to save the day, points the gun to the lounge door. With surprising expertise, she fires the gun twice at the lock.
I'm done shooting at you. You can come out now.
Colonel Mustard and Miss Scarlet exit the lounge.
Why were you shooting at us?
To open the door.
But you could have killed us.
I said, stand back.
Wadsworth, let's add finding the key to the lounge to our priority list.
Say, Frenchie, where did you get that gun anyway?
Is the safe? It was unlocked.
Unlocked?
Impossible. I have the key.
Checks his pocket.
I don't have the key. It's gone.
Gone? Not to beat a dead horse, but again,
I thought you said you'd thrown away the key to the safe, Wadsworth.
I did say that, but I didn't do that. We got distracted when the motorist arrived at the door, and I forgot. One of you must have taken the keys from my pocket when we were searching the house.
Whoever has the keys is the killer.
Precisely.
Speaking of the killer, there's a dead body in the lounge, you know. The motorist is dead.
Scarlet opens the lounge door. They all peek in.
Which one of you killed him?
We found him together!
And he was already dead!
But the door to the lounge was locked.
We went through a secret passageway that we found in the conservatory.
A secret passageway? Who designed this place?
The Parker brothers.
They wait and hope.
What should we do? Let's hide.
Gotta get him to go away. I'll hide the gun.
Don't worry. It's not the police.
It's the police.
I'm going to let him in.
No!
No!
The decent thing to do.
Open the door.
Mr. Green opens the front door. A cop stands there.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, officer. How do you do? We've been expecting you.
You have?
We haven't?
I got a tip about an abandoned car near the gates of this house. Did motorists stop by for help by any chance?
No.
No.
Yes.
There seems to be some disagreement. At any rate, can I come in and use your phone?
No.
No.
You may, sir. There's one in the lounge.
Scarlet, who is closest to the lounge door, blocks it.
Out of order.
Oh, right. Of course. You may use the one in the study.
So Plum, who is closest to the study door, blocks it.
Occupied.
If you please, sir, you may use the phone in the library. Right this way.
You're all acting rather peculiar.
It's because our chandelier fell down.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
True. Love
Expensive.
that shit.
Killed us, but don't worry. The maid will clean it up.
Well, that's all well and good, but what's going on in the lounge and the study?
Lounging, studying. This way.
Let me have a look.
Ooh, no thank you.
What?
This way, please.
Actually, I'd like to take a look around if you don't mind.
Yes, of course, officer. Follow me. I'll give you a grand tour of Body Manor.
The guests huddle up, quietly whispering together to come up with a plan, while Yvette uses a pulley system by the front door to raise the chandelier back into position.
This home was built by Lord Reginald Body in 1784.
We've got to cover our tracks and get rid of this guy.
This way, please. Lord Body had been declared Lord Body after somebody discovered an antibody that would save everybody.
Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, Colonel Mustard, and Yvette head to the study where Mr. Body and the cook's body remain. Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, and Mr. Green head to the lounge where the motorist's body remains.
Come on. Notice the mahogany floor. Did you know, in the 17th century, the buccaneer John Esquemeling recorded the use of mahogany for making canoes. Can you canoe?
What?
The two groups have each entered their respective rooms. The cop turns around to find.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
Come on. Notice the brass doorknobs crafted specifically for Lord Body by his buddy in 1878.
I don't care about the doorknobs, mister. What's going on around here? What are you hiding in those two rooms?
Which two rooms?
The lounge and the study.
Oh, those two rooms.
Yes.
The cop approaches the study door. Wadsworth blocks his path.
No, officer, I don't think you should go in there.
Why not?
because it's all too shocking.
The cop shoves Wadsworth aside and enters the study. The guests hear the dead bodies of Mr. Body and the cook, so they appear to be alone.
Hello, officer. Welcome to the party.
Mrs. White has set herself up with the dead Mr. Body on top of her to make it appear as if they're making out.
Excuse me.
Yvette dusts him.
You are excused.
The cop now notices Colonel Mustard seemingly making out with the dead cook, while Mrs. Peacock, unseen by the cop, uses her hands as if they were the cook's hands, heavily petting Colonel Mustard.
Pardon me.
The cop moves to exit.
Good night, officer.
Good night.
Slam! The cop retreats from the study back into the main hall with Wadsworth.
That wasn't all that shocking, mister. Those folks were just having a good time. Why didn't you tell me this was a party?
My apologies, sir.
I'll just take a look in the lounge, if you don't mind.
The cop opens the door to the lounge. The dead motorist, an alcohol bottle in hand, appears to be drunk rather than dead. He is propped up in a chair by Mr. Green, who shares the chair with him, also pretending to be drunk. Professor Plum and Miss Scarlet are slow dancing to the music behind him.
Excuse me.
Evening, officer. How do you do?
Are these men drunk?
Dead drunk.
Mr. Green offers the cop booze from Mr. Body's limp hand, splashing booze everywhere.
Want a sip?
Oh, I can't drink while on the job. Chief would kill me.
Killed if you do, killed if you don't.
What?
Huh?
Lovely evening, officer.
Same to you.
The cop shuts the door.
Well,
I can explain everything.
there's no explanation necessary. There's nothing illegal about any of this.
There's not.
Of course not. This is America, and that was the pursuit of happiness. May I use your phone now?
Certainly.
Wadsworth leads the cop to the library.
The library, officer.
Thank you.
Wadsworth closes and locks the door behind him. Then,
All's clear. You can come out now. Well done, all of you. Impressive.
all the guests emerge into the hall, congratulating themselves.
Wow.
I really
Yeah,
didn't think
drunk.
you had it
Oh
in
my
you.
God.
All right. I've locked him in the library.
How'd you do that? I thought you didn't have the key.
I didn't have my right pocket keys, but my left pocket keys are intact. Now, let's finish searching the manor. The police are on their way.
But the police already came.
Not the broken car police, the criminal investigation police.
Precisely. We must find the evidence, and we can't afford any more murders. This is getting dangerous. Now go.
Guests disperse to search the house.
Scene 12, the library/the billiard room. The cop dials the phone.
Hello? Hello?
The lights go out.
A power outage? Must be the storm. Hello? Oh, hello, Chief? Yes, this is... Hello? Are you still there? Is this phone working?
She sees someone. Oh,
Hello? Who turned off the lights? Hello?
she sees someone in the doorway.
Oh, it's only you. You scared me. I thought you were the killer.
Did somebody cut the line? Hello?
Oh, did you find a clue? What is that in your hand?
A gloved hand holding the rope emerges from behind Yvette. Lies under her neck. Struggles.
Oh, good. You can hear me. Yes. You see, I found an abandoned car and wound up in this old mansion where all the lights just went out. I'm telling you, Chief, something funny is going on around here.
A gloved hand holding a candlestick emerges from a trapdoor in the bookshelf.
They're having some kind of party, and you'll never believe who I just saw.
The cop turns around at a sound. The candlestick descends on the cop.
No.
Scene 13. The hall.
Oh, it's just been a power outage.
Must have been a cut line.
Let there be light.
Do you hear that?
Sounds like the telephone is off the hook.
I think it's coming from the library.
That's where the killer must be.
I'm going in.
Aren't you afraid?
Of course.
What? A fate worse than death?
No, just death.
Wadsworth, followed by the guests, goes to the library door. He unlocks it. The cop sits, head down.
Excuse me, cop. Are you all right? Do you need assistance? A phone book, perhaps?
Oh. Hey, listen here, copper. The butler asked you a question. Now, you hang up that telephone already, or I will.
He doesn't move. Mrs. Peacock slams the phone down. She pulls the cop's body back to reveal a bloody candlestick protruding from his head morbidly.
Oh my God.
This run until the hospital in the billiard room.
We should be safe here in the billiard room.
I don't feel safe.
I can't relax.
Got a round of pool to pass the time. Back him up.
They all step aside and reveal Yvette's blade-strangled body hanging off the table. Guests run to the hall. Front door opens on its own. A cute, perky, singing telegram girl tap dances in the doorframe.
A note in the mail may be quite confidential, but it is no singing telegram. It may be cliche, but don't be judgmental. I will try to sing on key, maybe even hit high C. Calls the four and writing a tour, but we all lose those cards in the end. For birthdays and makeups, bat mitzvahs and breakups, telegrams are this girl's best friend.
The young woman falls dead in the doorway.
Scene 14, the conclusion. They collectively take a breath. Wadsworth, pushing the girl's legs out of the way, shuts the front door. They are eerily calm.
3 murders in 3 minutes.
That's our best record.
3 murders.
6 altogether.
The cook, Mr. Body, the motorist, the cop, Yvette, and the singing telegram girl.
Oh, who is the murderer?
Ain't that the million-dollar question?
Sometimes the most obvious answer is right under our noses. I think the best course of action is to retrace our steps. It all started like this. At the start of the evening, there was thunder, lightning, the dogs barked. Ding dong, Colonel Mustard. Ding dong, Mrs. White, who noticed Yvette. Mrs. Peacock, who noticed the cook. Then Mr. Green. Sit. No, not you, sir. Please come in. Then Professor Plum. Miss Scarlet. Then dinner is served. Well, that was more like a cocktail minute. To the dining room. Shark fin soup. Ooh, yummy, 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 my favorite. Then Mr. Body arrived and we all went to the study. Coffee, brandy. Who is this Mr. Body Butler? How do you do? Then Mr. Body asked me to pass out the packages. Ah, snake! No, it's a rope. Then Mr. Body switched off the lights. Now.
He switches off the lights. Lights up. Wadsworth lies dead on the floor.
Mr. Body was dead, but not really. He was alive, but we didn't know it. Then Mrs. Peacock drank his drink.
He drinks from Mrs. Peacock's flask and spits it all over the guests.
Poison! Well, someone had to stop her screaming, and then we heard to the billiard room, but Mrs. Peacock joined late. I'm an old woman who may or may not have been poisoned. Then Mrs. White asked, who else is in this house? To which we all replied,
The cook!
We found knife to the back.
He mimes stabbing her, then imitates the cook falling dead out of the freezer onto Mr. Green.
Oh, God! Oh, God, so gross, blood germs! Will somebody help me up? I suggested we take the cook's body into the study, but Mr. Body's body was gone. Then Mrs. Peacock entered with Mr. Body on her body because Mr. Body had been bludgeoned in his bean. Then the briefcase.
He mimes opening the briefcase in the desk.
Empty. Next, the motorist arrived. Are you the killer? And I locked him in the lounge.
He fake kills Mr. Green, a la the motorist, with a mimed red to the head. Mr. Green falls dead, a la the motorist.
Dead.
He moves to the front door.
That's when the unexpected cop showed up. Hello, you're all acting rather peculiar. Can you canoe?
He fake kills Professor Plum with a mimed candlestick to the head. Professor Plum drops dead, a la the cop.
Dead. Then the maid got strangled in the billiard room.
He fake strangles Miss Scarlet with a mimed rope. Miss Scarlet drops dead, a la Yvette.
Dead, which brings us to a kiss on the hand, maybe. Quite continental. Bang! And here we all are.
Bravo!
Impressive, Wadsworth.
But what does it prove?
Nothing.
Well...
Enough of this. I know who the murderer is.
You do?
You do?
I do.
All right, Miss Scarlet, we're listening. Who do you accuse?
Miss Scarlet reveals Professor Plum's, pointing it at Professor Plum.
It was Professor Plum in the hall with the revolver.
Liar!
We all heard the gun go off, Professor, and I found your stupid tobacco pipe in the hall. When did you lose it, huh? When you were searching for the best vantage point to kill your next victim. I bet that poor singing telegram girl was an old patient of yours, wasn't she?
I never saw that girl before in my life. It wasn't me.
Well, the gun is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the gun is the murderer.
They all do so. Professor Plum pulls out the revolver in front. He points it at Wadsworth.
Well done, Wadsworth.
You won't be able to prove anything if you're all dead.
That may be so, Professor, but if we're alive...
Wadsworth opens the door. The chief of police and his backup cop enter, guns and badges revealed, stepping over the singing telegram girl on their way in.
Officers, there's your man.
Well done, Wadsworth.
But that's what I said.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. I'm handcuffs, chief of police. And Professor Plum, you're coming with me.
But that's not how it happened. It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
All right, then. We're listening, Professor Plum. Who do you accuse?
It was Colonel Mustard in the lounge with the wrench.
I never lounge!
I found your Medal of Honor in the lounge where the motorist was killed with a wrench to the head. A wrench that belonged to you.
That's a lie!
The wrench is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the wrench is the murderer.
They all do. Colonel Mustard pulls out the wrench with a rending grunt.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Cops enter, guns and badges revealed.
There's your man, officer. Not a kernel of truth in him.
Well done, Wadsworth.
But that's what I said.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. Guilty verdict, Chief of Police. And Colonel Mustard, you're coming with me.
You have it all wrong. It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
We're listening, Colonel. Who do you accuse?
It was Mrs. White in the billiard room with the rope.
I'd rather die.
I found your veil in the billiard room, and I saw how you cringed when Yvette served you dinner.
Yes, it's true. I knew Yvette. She had a torrid love affair with my late husband. I hated her. I hated her so much. The flames on the side of my face, breathing, heaving breaths. But just because I hated her does not mean I killed her.
The rope is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies.
Mrs. White pulls out a rope with a whelp. They gasp as she grin.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Cops burst in.
Well done, Wadsworth.
But that's what I said.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. Mark my words, Chief of Police. Mrs. White?
It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
Mrs. White, who do you accuse?
It was Mrs. Peacock in the kitchen with the dagger. I found your feather by the corpse.
Gentlemen, turn out your pockets.
Mrs. Peacock reveals a dagger.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Cops enter and disarming and cuffing Mrs. Peacock.
That's what I said.
Yes,
I'm saying it now.
I'm Barry D. Hatchet.
Chief of Police.
But that is not how it happened.
It happened.
It happened like this.
It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
It was Miss Scarlet in the library with the candlestick.
Maxie Mum, Chief of Police.
You can't do this to me.
Frankly, Miss Scarlet, I don't give a damn. But it really happened like this.
They do one final, irritated, lackluster rewind.
I know who the murderer is.
Who?
All of you. Grease.
Wadsworth reveals a gun.
Nobody move. You're all killers.
You can't prove anything, Mr. Wadsworth.
I'm not Mr. Wadsworth. I'm Mr. Body.
But if you're Mr. Body, wait, how can you be Mr. Body? Mr. Body bled all over me.
It wasn't Mr. Body who was bleeding.
But if Mr. Body wasn't Mr. Body, then who was he?
He was Wadsworth, my butler.
But if you're the real Mr. Body, what was your point in dragging all of this out?
Well, when you started murdering people, I decided to roll the dice, see if you'd self-implode, kill off my entire network of spies and informers, which you all did splendidly, by the way, generously leaving your fingerprints on every glass, doorknob, and dead body. So now I have each of you on the hook for murder. Bribery for petty crimes is one thing, but murder, now that could get expensive.
But why this whole charade? The Thurston of the house? The retracing our steps?
It's all part of the game.
Game?
Yeah, well, I'm relaxed now, you see. Now that you've killed everyone off, I've gotten off scot-free.
But the police will be here any minute. You'll never get away with this.
What's so funny?
Nobody's called the police, have they?
They were never on their way.
Now listen up, you reprobates. We're gonna stack the bodies in the cellar, lock the cellar door, leave Body Manor one at a time, and forget that any of this ever happened.
I can't forget all this.
With murder on the menu, the price of blackmail just tripled.
Forgotten.
Wait a
Now
minute.
move!
Wait a minute. We can all rush him. He's got no more bullets left in that gun.
Oh, come on. You don't think I'm gonna fall for that old trick?
It's not a trick. There was one shot at Mr. Body in the study, 2 for the chandelier, 2 at the lounge door, and 1 for the singing telegram girl.
That's not 6.
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
There was one shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, not 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Okay, fine. 1 plus 2 plus... Shut up! Point is, there is 1 bullet left in this gun, and anybody who moves is gonna get at her!
So you're just gonna keep blackmailing us and we're all supposed to pretend like none of this ever happened?
Of course. Why not?
I'll tell you why not.
Mr. Green draws a gun.
Larry Goodman, FBI. The jig is up.
Or is it?
Wadsworth turns and shoots Mr. Green. Mr. Green dodges with Matrix-esque finesse.
Missed me.
Mr. Green trains his gun on Wadsworth, who's genuinely now frightened.
You're FBI?
Apparently, I'm a dead ringer for Mr. Green. He got a letter like each of you, but he came to the bureau to ask for help. I took his place tonight for a sting operation.
Sting? 6 people died on your watch.
I usually work the desk. My beat is property crime, theft, fraud. That's why I was so tickled when the real Wadsworth dropped off a whole briefcase with evidence last night.
You've had the evidence this whole time?
It's all here. Miss Scarlett's books list the names of employees and customers, justifying why she killed the cop.
Give me that!
Miss Scarlet lunges at Mr. Green. Mr. Green staves her off with his gun.
Ooh, and a love letter just to Professor Plum.
That's private property.
That singing telegram girl was the teenage daughter that head of the you-know-who. Who would have come clean to Daddy? Who would have cleaned up Professor Plum?
Now see here.
Wadsworth makes an attempt to escape. Mr. Green trains his gun on him, grounding him.
And these negatives, Colonel. Quite the regular at Miss Scarlett's establishment. Bet you couldn't be a colonel anymore if that motorist had informed your general where he drives you on Tuesday nights.
I just wanted somebody to talk with.
Wadsworth takes a step towards Mr. Green's gun. Mr. Green thwarts his attempts with ninja-like moves and continues on with a flourish.
Shark fin soup indeed, Miss Peacock. Too bad your old cook couldn't keep quiet. If only she hadn't blabbed about your briberies. Maybe you would have killed her. Just before joining us in the billiard room. Now that we really know it took you so long.
Circumstantial evidence will never hold up in a court of law.
But these notarized documents will. And Mrs. White, you weren't lying. You really did hate Yvette.
Flames on the side of...
Okay, we get it.
Revealing a vial, seemingly out of thin air.
Here's a vial containing fingerprints from your previous murders.
Never murdered my husband.
Fingerprints? I'm sure the FBI will be able to match. Found on the noose. Found around Yvette's neck.
I wore gloves.
Mr. Green opens his vest to reveal Mrs. White's gloves pinned to his chest.
You mean these? And last but not least, Mr. Body.
It's Robert.
Now, you didn't hate Yvette at all, did you, Mr. Body?
What's it to you?
Illicit green cod love affair is the icing on the cake of this FBI file. An FBI file on the whole body family. Your butler, the real Wadsworth, has been feeding us information for months. Talk about a real American.
He was British.
You know what I mean. I see why you want to kill him. Twice. You shot and missed him in the study, and you wisely played dead. But it wasn't till you found him trying to escape that you bludgeoned him to death with the lead pipe I dropped while running to the kitchen.
I mean, really, Miss Scarlet, who drops a murder weapon?
I didn't know it was a... The Body family has been wanted for organized crimes for generations, but they've always eluded the law. Until tonight, the Body family business has reached a dead end.
You leave my family out of this!
Wadsworth, enraged, uses the dagger he's snagged from Mrs. Peacock's purse to stab at Mr. Green. Mr. Green shoots Wadsworth, hitting him successfully.
Oh, Larry. Hold me, Larry! Oh, Larry, it's so dark. Second wind! If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. Yes. Here we go. I'm gone.
He's dead.
Not yet!
Oh, come on!
Smile when your heart is breaking. Smile. Mama. Larry. Ow.
I tell you, this was the most exciting night of my life. And now you're all under arrest, officers!
Cops with guns burst through the front door. The guests hold up their hands.
Here, the criminals you've been looking for. And the tapes are in the billiard room.
The
Okay.
tapes.
Who done it?
She did.
They all did. But if you want to know who killed Mr. Body,
He indicates Wadsworth.
it was me, Special Agent Larry Goodman, in the hall with the gun.
Well done, Goodman.
That's what he said.
What he said.
Mr. Green arrogantly twirls his gun.
And that's how it really... Sorry. Okay, Chief. Take him away. I'm going home to sleep with my wife.
End of play.
Thank you for attending Perkiomen Valley's production of Clue, the stay-at-home edition. And we would like to thank our cast and crew. Playing the chief of police and our motorist is Meredith Marks. Playing our cop is Anya Sponholz. Playing Mr. Body and our newscaster is Riley Smith. Our singing telegram girl is Ava DeFiore. One of our narrators is Caroline Ryder. Another of our narrators is Ava DeColi. Our cook is Reagan Park. Colonel Mustard, played by Christian Rude. Professor Plum, played by Christian Seibel. Mr. Green, by Sean Francisco. Mrs. Peacock was Amelia Harris. Mrs. White was Kelly McKenzie. Miss Scarlet, played by Julia Gerberick. Yvette, by Rhea Sringari. And our Wadsworth was John Baranowski. We'd also like to thank our crew, behind the scenes, our stage manager was Savannah Mitchum. Our sound technician was Leah Rubenstein. Our production manager was Jane Houston. I'd also like to thank our acting coach and the drama club advisor, Mr. Matt Lysak, and our assistant director, Mrs. Tricia Fisher. And I'm Linda McAllister. Thank you very much for attending our show. Everybody wave goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for
Thanks for
coming.
watching. Means a lot.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.